I had an experience, and I'll share this with you because a lot of the things that I've learned about direction came from this particular season in my life. I had been in Africa for a year, preaching all over East Africa. I had the time of my life. Came home, and I didn't know what to do next. I was all filled with vision and the Word, and I was ready to preach, and I did not know where to go. And so I began to pray and seek God, and I waited on God, and days turned into weeks, and it took a long, long time before I heard anything. And I learned so much about following God in this time, but honesty became crucial because for a long time I didn't hear anything. And finally, the Lord spoke to me, and He told me, go to Arkansas. Well, that was the last place that I wanted to go. Now, I don't have anything against Arkansas, and that turned out to be one of the greatest adventures of my life. I have a lot of great memories from there, but at that time, I just didn't want to go there. It was a small town. It was a small church. It was really not much of an opportunity. But I want to tell you this. There are times and seasons in your life where God is doing something other than what you're focused on. At that time, I was focused on numbers and reaching people and how much experience can I get and how many people can I reach. And God was doing something totally different. He was dealing with commitment and faithfulness and obedience and honesty and these things. And I was totally focused on something else. This happens so many times in life. But the thing that gets you through it is being led by God. You don't have to understand everything that God is doing in your life in any given season. But what you do have to do is listen to His voice and obey Him. If you'll do that, He'll lead you where He wants you to go. But you may not understand it at the time, and you probably won't always understand it. But if you're honest, and that's what it came down to. Here I am praying for direction. I've already committed my life to God. I promise God, I will do your will. All you have to do is tell me what it is. I'll do it. I made that decision and I meant it. But I didn't know what it was. So I waited, and then it came. Go to Arkansas. And I didn't hear a voice, but it was down in my spirit. It kind of caught me off guard because one day it wasn't there and the next day it was there. And I thought, where did that come from? Go to Arkansas? Go to Arkansas. And I thought about it and I just dismissed it. I thought, that can't be God. And I kept praying and seeking the Lord, and it was there the next day. And it just kept, and so then I got to pay attention to this. And then it's like, oh no, maybe God's wanting me, oh no, it can't be. And I spent time trying to talk God out of it. And I tried to talk myself out of it. And I tried to get rid of that sense. Here's the verse. There are many plans in a man's heart, but the counsel of the Lord, that shall stand. I couldn't shake it. And then I tried to tell myself, well, surely God wouldn't do that. And even if He did, it's just not right. It just can't be right. It just can't be. I have been to Africa. I've been to Bible school. They don't even have a full-time position. They had a position, but you had to work a full-time job, and it was a free position. It's like be a youth pastor for free. Well, I could go anywhere and do that. Why Arkansas? I couldn't shake it. I prayed and prayed, and it stayed. So I had to come to a point, and I'll tell you, there are times in your life where you have to get to this place. It's not a bad thing. I wasn't being irreverent. I wasn't being rebellious. I was being honest. And if you're honest, you know the difference. God knew I was being honest. I would pray about it, and I would tell God why it shouldn't be, why we shouldn't do this. It's a bad idea. There's no opportunity, no jobs. I don't even know how I could survive. All of those things. And then I couldn't deny, go to Arkansas. The peace was on that. The unction was on that. Down deep in my spirit, it seemed like I should go there. And I prayed some more. I took my time, and I got to this place. And I encourage you to take time to get to this place. Sift through all of the voices and feelings and logic and come to this place, because I got there. And when I got there, I knew I was there. And here's where the conclusion I came to. After praying for probably weeks, I said, God, I don't understand it. I don't agree with it. I would never choose this. But I've prayed about it. You know I've prayed about it. And I'm honest with you. And I'm honest with myself. And before this day, I couldn't say this, but now I can. If I had to go to court, lay my hand on a Bible and swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, I would have to say, I wouldn't want to say it, but I'd have to say, I believe God wants me to go to Arkansas. I'd have to say that. And I can't shake it. So I believe, Father, you're telling me to go to Arkansas. Now, I don't believe it's a good idea. I don't think it's going to work. I'll probably go die there. I don't know how I'll starve to death. There's no opportunity there. There's no people there. It's the smallest town I've ever seen. The town was 1,500. The church was 50. The youth group was 10. There's just nothing, Lord. But I believe you're telling me to go, and I want to do your will with all my heart. Now, I could be wrong. I'm honest enough to admit that I'm not infallible, and you are. And if I'm wrong, I'm going to go to Arkansas, and it's not going to work out, and I'll die, and I'll come to heaven, and I'll stand before you, and you'll know, and I'll know that I believed with all my heart that I was supposed to do this. And what could you say about it? At least you got somebody that'll do what they believe God's telling them to do. That's got to mean something. Now, if I'm right and you're wrong, I'll go there and die, and I'll come to heaven and say, I told you that it wasn't going to work. I told you it was going to come out bad, and it did. We should have never done it, but you told me to do it. Either way, I'm doing the right thing. Either way, I'm going to follow God. I was young, and I had opportunity, time to walk this out and see. And I told God, if you can communicate with me, you've got a partner, because I'm going to do what you tell me to do. If I believe it's you, and you can make sure that I believe and know that it's you talking to me, I am going to do what you tell me to do. And boy, I got to prove it. I loaded up my little U-Haul with all my old furniture, and I moved to Arkansas. And there was one miracle after another. And I have to say, looking back on it, it was one of the happiest times of my life, because there was no reason for me to be in that town, in that position, for 3 years. There was no reason for me to be there except God sent me there. God sent me to that little town. God sent me to that little apartment complex. God sent me there, and I watched God fill in all the blanks, make up every need, meet every need, bring people into my life. Some of them weren't even Christians, and they did things and said things and provided provision for me. It was an amazing experience. But it seemed like the last thing in the world that I ought to do, should do. In fact, when I was there, a friend of mine from Bible school who had graduated came to visit me and preached in the church. And while he was there, he looked at me, got me off to the side, and he says, "What are you doing here? This is the smallest town I've ever seen." He said, "You need to get out of this town and go build your ministry. Nobody knows what you're doing here. Nobody sees you here." And I said, "Well, God sees me. God sent me. And I'm not leaving it until God tells me to leave, because I'm following Him with all my heart." It takes extreme honesty to do that. You have to pray, and you'll have to struggle with your own mind, but you'll get there. You'll be able to tell yourself, you know what? I'm not here to deceive myself. I mean business. And I believe that God is telling me to do thus and so. Whether you agree with it or not is immaterial. Whether it makes sense or not, that doesn't matter. I believe God's telling me to do this, and so I'm going to do it. And if you come to that conclusion, listen, you won't. Once you come to that conclusion, you're probably not going to hear anything else. Why? Because God got the message to you, and everything is contingent on you taking that next step.
Visit gregfritz.org to download the MP3s and stream the video for free by entering code FREE at checkout.
Be sure to let me know what you thought about this teaching in the comments section. And share these videos with your friends, and please subscribe to my YouTube channel so you can get more teaching that will empower you to do God's will for your life.